There are moments in life when everything feels delayed, when prayers seem unanswered, when doors stay closed longer than your patience can hold. But listen carefully. Just because it hasn't happened yet doesn't mean it hasn't already been approved. Before you ever cried about it, before you ever stayed up all night wondering when, before the doubt entered your heart, God had already signed off on your biggest blessing. Yes, it's already approved. Not by people, not by luck, not by chance, but by the one who sees the end from the beginning. You see, we often mistake delay for denial. We think silence means rejection. We assume that because we don't see movement, nothing is happening. But heaven doesn't operate on your timeline. God is not slow. He is precise. There is a preparation happening behind the scenes. Because the truth is, if the blessing came too early, it would crush you instead of elevate you. If the door opened too soon, you wouldn't recognize its value. So God, in His wisdom, doesn't just prepare the blessing. He prepares you for the blessing. Right now, in this very moment, while you're questioning, while you're waiting, while you're struggling to hold on, God is aligning things you cannot see. People you haven't met yet. Opportunities that haven't appeared yet. Breakthroughs that are quietly forming in the unseen realm. And when the time is right, not your time, but His time, everything will come together in a way that will leave you speechless. You won't be able to explain it. You won't be able to take credit for it. Because deep down, you'll know. That job approved. That healing approved. That breakthrough approved. That peace you've been longing for already approved. But here's the part many people miss. Approval does not cancel the process. You still have to walk through the fire. You still have to endure the waiting season. You still have to trust when nothing makes sense. Because faith is not believing after you see it. Faith is holding on when you don't see anything at all. So don't give up now. Don't walk away when you're closer than you've ever been. The pressure you feel, it's not punishment. It's preparation. The struggle you're in, it's not the end. It's a shaping. And one day, soon, you will look back at this season and realize every tear had a purpose. Every delay had a reason. Every closed door was protection. And the blessing that finally arrives will be bigger than you prayed for, greater than you imagined, more perfect than you expected. Because when God approves something, no one can cancel it. No one can stop it. No one can take it away. So lift your head, strengthen your heart, and keep walking like you already know. Before you ever whispered the prayer, before your heart even formed the words, before the tears rolled down your face in the quiet moments no one else could see, God had already released a yes over your life. There is a divine approval that does not depend on your timing, your perfection, or your understanding. It was spoken in eternity and carried into your present reality, a decision made by a sovereign God who is not limited by what you see or feel. You may think you are waiting for God to respond, but the truth is, heaven is not silent about your situation. The answer was settled long before the question reached your lips. This approval is not fragile, it is not temporary, and it is not influenced by human opinion. It is rooted in purpose, in calling, in a plan that stretches far beyond this moment of confusion or delay. When God approves something, it carries authority that no circumstance can overturn. Even when life looks like it is moving in the opposite direction, even when doors close and opportunities seem to slip through your hands, that divine yes remains unchanged. It is not shaken by your doubts or weakened by your fears. It stands firm, constant, and unmovable. You may have moments where you question your worth, where you feel unqualified, where your past tries to convince you that you are not deserving of what you have been asking for. But God's approval is not based on your history. It is based on His intention. He sees beyond your mistakes, beyond your setbacks, beyond every failure that tries to define you. He looks at your life through the lens of purpose, not through the lens of your pain. What He has approved is connected to who you are becoming, not who you used to be. There is something powerful about knowing that your blessing is not waiting on human validation. People may misunderstand you, overlook you, or fail to recognize your value, but their opinion was never the deciding factor. God did not consult the crowd before He made His decision about your life. He did not ask for permission from circumstances before releasing His approval. What he has declared over you carries a weight that cannot be canceled by rejection or delayed by opposition. Even now, in moments where everything feels uncertain, there is a certainty in the unseen. The approval of God is like a foundation beneath your feet, holding you steady when everything around you feels unstable. It is a quiet assurance that something greater is already in motion, even if you cannot trace it or fully understand it. Every step you take, even the ones that feel small or insignificant, are still within the boundaries of what he has already authorized. You are not chasing something that is out of reach. You are walking towards something that has already been released in your direction. The approval has gone ahead of you, making a way where there seems to be none, opening doors that no effort of your own could force open. It is not a matter of if it will happen, but a matter of when it will be revealed in your reality. There is a space between promise and fulfillment that often feels uncomfortable, a season where nothing seems to move at the pace you expected, and every day tests your patience. This waiting is not empty, even though it can feel that way. It is filled with purpose, with shaping, with quiet transformation that does not announce itself loudly. Delay can feel like rejection when you only measure progress by what you can see, but in the language of God, delay is often protection, preparation, and positioning. What feels like a pause is actually a process unfolding with precision. In this process, you are being stretched beyond your current capacity. Your character is being refined, your perspective is being adjusted, and your strength is being built in ways that comfort could never achieve. Waiting exposes what is inside you. It reveals your fears, your doubts, your insecurities, but it also uncovers your resilience, your faith, and your ability to trust beyond logic. It is in these moments, when there is no visible evidence, that your belief becomes real and not just words you speak when everything is going well. The waiting process also disconnects you from illusions of control. It reminds you that not everything can be rushed, forced, or manipulated into existence. There are things that require divine timing, things that must align in ways you cannot orchestrate on your own. You may try to speed it up, to find shortcuts, to make something happen before it's time, but premature outcomes often carry consequences that preparation would have prevented. What is meant for you will not miss you, and what requires growth cannot be skipped without cost. There's also a hidden work happening around you, beyond your awareness. While you're focused on what has not arrived yet, God is orchestrating details that are too complex for you to manage. People are being positioned, circumstances are shifting, and pathways are being cleared in ways that may not be visible now, but will make sense later. The waiting is not just about you becoming ready, it is also about everything connected to your blessing coming into alignment. This season challenges your consistency. It asks you to remain committed even when motivation fades, to hold on to discipline when emotions fluctuate, and to keep moving forward when there is no immediate reward. It is easy to be confident when results are visible, but true endurance is built when you continue without confirmation. Every day you choose not to give up, you are strengthening something within you that will be necessary for what is coming. Waiting also teaches you to listen more deeply. When external noise fades and distractions lose their grip, you become more aware of the subtle guidance that is always present. You begin to recognize that silence does not mean absence, and stillness does not mean inactivity. There is a quiet direction being formed, a clarity that emerges not from rushing ahead, but from staying grounded in the process. What feels like a delay is actually a careful construction of something that will not collapse under pressure. It is a season that builds endurance, sharpens awareness, and deepens trust in a way that instant fulfillment never could. The process carries a weight of purpose that is often only understood once you have moved beyond it. There is a dimension of your life that exists beyond what your eyes can perceive, a quiet realm where movement is constant even when your surroundings appear still. What feels like stagnation on the surface is often the result of intricate alignment happening beneath it. God is not limited to what is visible, and His work is not dependent on your awareness. While you measure progress by what you can touch and confirm, He is orchestrating details that stretch across time, across people, across situations that have not yet entered your field of view. In this unseen alignment, connections are being formed that you have not yet encountered. Conversations are happening that will eventually lead back to you. Doors are being prepared before you ever stand in front of them. There are moments unfolding in places you have never been, involving people you have never met, all carrying a thread that ties back to your purpose. It may seem like nothing is moving in your direction, but the truth is, movement is happening on a level you cannot track. This alignment is intentional, not random. Every piece is being positioned with accuracy. What looks like coincidence will later reveal itself as design. What feels like a delay will later be understood as timing. You are not being overlooked. You are being synchronized with something greater than your current perspective. The path ahead is not being built in front of your eyes because it requires elements that are still being arranged beyond your reach. There are also things being removed in this process, things that do not align with where you are going. Some relationships shift, some opportunities fade, some plans fall apart, and it can feel like loss. But in the unseen, there's a filtering taking place. Anything that cannot support your next level is being cleared out, not to harm you, but to make space for what truly belongs in your future. The absence you feel now is not emptiness. It is preparation for something more fitting. You may question why certain doors remain closed despite your effort, why certain paths seem blocked no matter how persistent you are. What you cannot see is what lies behind those doors, what consequences are attached to those paths, and how they could interfere with what has already been set aside for you. The alignment process is not just about bringing the right things in, it is also about keeping the wrong things out. Timing plays a critical role in this unseen work. Even the right opportunity, if encountered too early, can become a burden instead of a blessing. There's a specific moment where everything intersects in a way that produces ease instead of strain, clarity instead of confusion. That moment is not slutry. It is the result of countless adjustments happening behind the scenes, all converging at the right point. Trust becomes essential when you cannot verify what is happening. It requires a shift from needing constant evidence to holding onto a deeper sense of assurance. You are not standing still, even if it feels that way. You are positioned within a flow of alignment that is carrying you towards something already set in motion, something that will eventually step out of the unseen and into your reality. There comes a moment when what has been hidden begins to surface, when what was once distant suddenly becomes real, tangible, and undeniable. The blessing that was approved, the process that felt long, and the alignment that remained unseen all converge into a single point of manifestation. It does not arrive as a random event or an accident of timing, but as the unfolding of something that has been building with precision all along. What once required faith now stands in front of you as evidence. This manifestation often comes in a way that feels sudden, even though it has been forming for a long time. From your perspective, it may look like everything changed overnight, but in reality, it is the result of a gradual process reaching its appointed moment. Every delay, every closed door, every redirection now begins to make sense. Pieces that once felt disconnected start fitting together, revealing a pattern that was always there but could not be fully seen before. There's a shift that happens within you as well. You begin to recognize that you have changed through the process. The person who once felt uncertain, impatient, or overwhelmed now carries a different level of clarity and strength. The blessing is not just something you receive, it is something you are now prepared to sustain. What once might have felt too heavy now feels aligned with who you have become. When the manifestation arrives, it often exceeds your expectations, not just in size or scale, but in its timing and impact. It reaches areas of your life you did not anticipate, opening doors beyond the original request. What you asked for was limited by your understanding at the time, but what is delivered reflects a broader perspective. It carries a depth that reveals it was never just about one outcome, but about a larger purpose unfolding through it. There's also a sense of confirmation that comes with it, a quiet knowing that this could not have been produced by your effort alone. The alignment of circumstances, the precision of timing, and the way everything connects points to something beyond coincidence. It brings a level of peace that does not rely on external validation, because the source of it is already understood within you. The manifestation does not erase the memory of the process, but it transforms your relationship with it. What once felt like struggle now carries meaning. The waiting no longer feels wasted, and the uncertainty no longer feels empty. Each part of the journey reveals its purpose in light of what has now come into view. There is a continuation within the manifestation as well. It is not a final destination, but a transition into a new level of responsibility, awareness, and growth. What has arrived is both a fulfillment and an invitation into something greater. It expands your capacity, challenges you in new ways, and opens pathways that were not accessible before. What has been approved reaches its appointed moment without confusion, without being misplaced, and without losing its way. It enters your life with a clarity that removes doubt and replaces it with understanding, carrying the weight of everything that has led up to it.